Coming to you from the historic Hart Building in Marysville, California, in Studio 93, In the Tank with Fish, with your host, Bob Fischetti.
Well, welcome to another episode. I know that we've been a little bit of space between episodes within the tank, but it just is, it's the way life goes, right? So sometimes I'll find a guest and I'll be all excited, got a guest, and then they can't get their schedule to match mine, which I really don't understand since my schedule's so important. But so anyway, today I get to have two guests, and we're going to be talking about the walk to
end. Yes.
Walk to End Alzheimer's.
Yes.
And Elicia, I met, I don't even know how long ago.
It's been years. It's at least been, probably close to 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was on the air before we moved upstairs in the old studio. and so I met her before, Elicia Stewart, and then
I met you about 2 years ago when we did our first interview with Comfort Keepers.
Comfort Keepers,
Yes.
that was it. Yeah.
And so now I'm just exclusively with Walk to End Alzheimer's. And so being the community liaison volunteer, I'm happy to be out here in the community presenting Alzheimer's.
We used to have, I think I might have had Neil Goforth, I think, that has Comfort Keepers.
Isn't that a great name? Go forth.
What a
Go
great,
forth.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I think, I don't know if we had him on or maybe you came on to represent it, but just a great organization. You know, we have so many things that are available in the community, but we don't always, catch them. So I'm going to go down this road with you. Where'd you grow up?
Right here. Well, not here in Marysville, but here in Yuba City. So
You're such a local girl.
I am.
You're a honker.
I am.
You're a honker, I know, because we talked about it.
Yes. I've never liked the name, but I'm proud of it.
Yep.
And oddly enough, I was just at Advocacy Day for Alzheimer's last Tuesday. Last Wednesday. And I was talking about, to some people, just about the area of where I grew up and how I am so impressed. We have one of our volunteers who is actually from River Valley High School.
Oh.
Yes, I know. And she actually started the Alzheimer's Aware. It's a club. She has over 100 teenagers. And
That's
she
just
was
cool.
there. Isn't that awesome? She was there, and she was almost the youngest person there for Advocacy Day. There was a baby there that was about 10 months. So,
I don't feel like that counts.
Yeah. Yeah, because if I'd have been there and I interviewed the baby.
Yeah. I
don't think you're going to get much.
Yeah. But the baby was quiet and the baby allowed mom to be there. And I was so impressed because that's a whole different subject
That
taking that time to go and speak on behalf of Alzheimer's when you're a mom. But the teenagers, she came and she brought one of her chairs. And I talked on Facebook just how impressed I was with our young people. And you and I have talked about that before, where a lot of people talk down about our area, about the kids. I have been so impressed by the amount of kids that show up to help volunteer, the enthusiasm they have.
Yes.
They're ready to go, to do anything. And so to have 100 kids say, yes, I want to help for Alzheimer's Aware. I may not know all about it, but I know it's important. I just think that's amazing. Yeah.
I think we underestimate our kids. I've been around Naval Sea Cadets, FFA, 4-H. Just all these different, and they're killing it. I mean, they're really doing well.
Yes.
And, but we always hear about the one kid or, whatever. And it's like, it's not like that. These kids are bright. They're our future, right?
Yes.
And it's like, we always say that, but it's like, well, if you're not around them,
You don't know.
Like you won't see. Yeah, you don't know, and you won't see it. But they'll jump if they think there's a cause. There is a thing that I think it's Gen Z. Every generation has an earmark, and like Gen X was They were supposed to be lazy. They created more entrepreneurs than any generation at a time when we needed that in our country. And so I do think that element's there. And then Gen Z will take a job for less money if they know they can make a difference. That's a big
amazing.
deal.
Yeah.
So those are the things I'd rather key in on, right? I don't know what the next generation is.
Yeah. Well,
And that's also about, working in your passion and finding something in alignment where you can give 100% of yourself to your focus and what you're doing and make a difference. And a lot of people get caught in the negatives, and that's where we blow it out of proportion.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of amazing community members, and unfortunately, it just takes one apple to ruin the bunch.
Well, yeah, and then they think that about, and it's unfortunate because it connects, right? So it's not just, it's like the all women are like this, all men are like this, all right,
Yes,
so it's
yes.
like one kid does something jug-headed at River Valley, I wouldn't dare say.
yeah. Because I'm protective of River Valley too. It's all Yuba City.
It cracks me up that,
Yeah.
that we got a new school, and
I know.
by the time they got it, it was like full, right? It was like
Yes.
we just had a lot of kids, and
We had a
Yuba
lot
City
of
could not handle. That was just crazy. So I was really glad they did that. But
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna have another one for too long.
I would not be surprised. I went through Gray Avenue, and it was packed way back then. And so I see potential. I see potential. But getting back to the kids, because I just want to say the HOSA group, they're a young leadership, future leaders of America, the Key Club. There are so many great clubs. And so I'm beyond impressed. I am thankful and grateful to see them. I am grateful to be able to offer them an opportunity to support the Walk to End Alzheimer's and actually be a part of the change, because that's what they want, And on this side of the pond, right over here on Marysville, Lyndhurst Continuation School actually helped a couple of years back with Blue Zones, and they did a wonderful. Those kids were amazing. They were so in tune to the residents. They were helping us plant some garden. We have these huge garden planters, like tall, about 4 feet tall.
Like above ground. Yeah.
Above ground. They helped paint it, and then they helped the residents get their hands in the dirt.
Oh, man.
And it was amazing. And so I think sometimes when people like to clump all the kids together.
Well, and they say, well, okay, so they do social media because they want to be relevant. Okay, so yeah, that's probably true. But those ones that are over there helping seniors and the ones that are in these other organizations, they are relevant.
They are.
And they found a niche, and they are relevant. What did you do in high school? Like, I was voted most likely to do 5 to 10 for.
I was actually, oddly enough, part of the newspaper.
Oh!
And so I was a photographer. And I was part of the newspaper. I loved writing articles, and I still have some of my articles. I did the drama. I was part of the drama club. I was a church kid through and through. So anything that I could do to help support, I was part of the peer group. And
those were really smart when they started.
Yes,
those
the
peer
peer
groups
group.
were really good. My
Yes.
son, he went to Elk Grove High, and they had it there. It was a peer something. I don't know. It had a different name, but
I still have, we had a weekend where we went off campus, and you had to write affirmations on people's backs, and they wouldn't know who wrote it, but you had to write something nice. And I still have the piece of paper that people wrote about me because it meant so much. I didn't know that my peers felt that way about me. And
that would
so,
absolutely,
Yeah.
that would absolutely not work with me because I'd be writing "kick me."
JK.
They'd be gone. Okay, get him out of here. So, what did you do in high school?
So I went to Los Gatos High School. I grew up in the Bay Area. I spent more of my time doing art and learning more about painting, drawing, things like that. It wasn't until I moved here in 2020 that I really started to do a lot more of the community work and, being a end of life doula, learning about how I could serve this community. And that's kind of how I got connected with Walk to End Alzheimer's.
We're going to get to that in just a minute, because what I'm trying to do is connect the dots, right? Because you go through life and you do different stuff. Look, I was a pastor for 30 years. I was an evangelist before that. And it's like, I'm on radio. It's like,
Well, you're used to talking.
yeah, that part. Yeah. And it's like I know that there is something that transpires as we age. Now, that they say this about men, I don't know if this is true, but about every 20 years, at 20, at 40, at 60, they go through this change, right? So we talk about what do they call it? Midlife crisis. So for men, it's called the finicky 40s, right? And they're like, right. So anyway, so you do reevaluate. That's really true. And depending on what your life was like, that could move into your next stage of life. But this one was totally not expected. Totally not. I mean, I love it. I love what I'm doing. I think I'm in the right place at the right time, which I believe is God ordained, because I wouldn't have probably picked it. But I wonder about that. So, it's like you grew up in a different community, but can you definitely be heartfelt if God moves you into another community? And the answer is yes. Was you grew up here the whole time?
I grew up here, and I moved with the military. I married to the military and left early, 18.
What?
And then, went away.
Would you get married at 16?
No, it felt like it. But no, I look back now and I understand.
You think, was I ever that young?
Yeah, well, no, I felt like I knew, what 18-year-old doesn't feel like they know everything.
Yeah.
You were ready to go off.
I was ready to go off and see the world. And, but I will tell you that I took Yuba City and what I learned here, everything with me.
Yeah.
And to the point where in Korea, Osan, I actually saw one of my classmates there.
Stop.
Yes. Believe his name was Michael Brown. And I was like, what are you doing here? I know it was Michael. And we were just like in shock. And it wasn't like we were that close, but it was like, we're from the same town. We're from the same school. We graduated the same year. It was just amazing. But that correlation for me, all through growing up, well, there were two things. I was adopted at a young age, when I was a baby.
No.
And my parents adopted me when they were older. So I've always been drawn to older people, right?
Because that's why we're friends. What do you think?
I can see the
Kurt,
wisdom.
cut that part out.
I appreciate the wisdom, but I've always been told that I was always older than,
because of that. I believe in that.
Yeah.
I believe that a lot of us as parents, we became parents too young. My wife and I believe we married too young. We had kids too, and we waited 3 years before we had kids, but still, and we were both in the military. And so that's how we met. Yeah. And then, but yeah, I think there's something to be said. And then that's why people said, oh, their grandparents raised them. And there's a side of me that goes, good.
Yeah. It's a different type of environment when you're raised by older. And there's a respect level there. There were expectations of me that I don't think would have been there had I had a different type of upbringing. So, I was expected to participate in everything. I was, a part of everything. You don't know until you try. And you are a leader, And so because of that, everything I've been a part of, I was the worship leader. I worked my way. And I wasn't trying to be. It's just that's where God opened the door. And I just said, okay, well, because I came up in a small church. So when there's only a few of us, everybody does everything, right? Yeah. So I was on the usher board. I was, when we had youth night, well, go up there and preach. You know something, and so you learn,
They don't do that as much anymore.
No.
But that was really,
yes.
That was great. I mean, I came in during the hippies.
Yeah.
And so we were like, have you seen that movie, Jesus Revolution?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you need to watch that. That's how it was. All us hippies, when we came in, that's what the church had to deal with.
Wow.
People should watch that. It's a great movie because of that. So how did you end up at some point going, I'm trying to find my niche, because you did talk about you had worked for Comfort Keepers, but somewhere along the line, you turned a corner, because when you start working where you girls are working now, you're talking about it's difficult. You know, you have to really have been prepped somewhere to be able to do that.
Well, you know, funny enough, December 12th, I got a note card on my windshield that said, you know, something along the lines of God has plans for you in other places. And, you know,
Did you look around for an angel?
I was like, okay, I believe in, you know, listening to the signs and being open and aware. A lot of times the radio will play songs in alignment with what's going on. And, you know, I just wanted to give more time and focus to this mission, because I can give the time now that I'm an independent business owner. So as the beginning of this year, I have my own fashion company that I'm working with, and it's being distributed in multiple retail stores. So I have a lot more time to be able to work in the community. And this is something that I'm very passionate about, because when I started working with the dementia and Alzheimer's patients with Comfort Keepers, which now they have a specialized dementia program. So they're really stepping it up when it comes to the care that these seniors in the community need. And so really just wanting to support and do what we can to bring more awareness for this, so that we can continue to do this for years to come. Because, you know, Yuba City is a very small place, but it has a lot of big community supporters. And, you know, it's really great to see when people are sharing and posting and, you know, doing what they can to bring awareness to whatever mission it is, whether it be mental health or Alzheimer's or, you know, other things. You know, there's a lot of people here trying to work on sharing those resources, and it's not as desperate as people think that it may be, because again, if you're living in a world where everything is negative, you're not going to be able to see what's there.
Yeah.
I think that we're having to come to grips with, we have an older generation that has lived longer, you know, and consequently, there are things that are specific to aging. I wouldn't know. I've read books about it.
Yes.
Somebody's told you a few things.
Yeah, that people tell me, you know, these
yes.
old people talk to me, and
You know, that's how it used to be passed down. You know, people would talk to people and share stories.
I laugh because I was in college. I was probably 26, 27, and I was studying gerontology, which is study of geriatrics, which I am one now, so that worked out. But anyway, so I was down at Yountville at the Veterans Hospital doing my internship, and you have to work in every area down there, the psych ward, the total care ward, right? And so I'm walking down the hall, and this doctor stops me, and he goes, "Would you like to know the secret to aging well?" And I'm like, I'm 27. He's like an old man. I bet he was 40. He was at least 40. He was old.
Because everybody is really old when we're like
That's
in our
it,
20s.
you know? And so I said, well, yeah, I can't wait, right? So we were going by this ward that was all bedridden, but it stuck with me. And he said every single one of those patients would be ambulatory if they had not retired and sat down in front of that TV. He said the secret to aging well is keep moving physically and mentally.
Absolutely.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
And I do that. I don't know that I think about I'm doing this to age well, but I have people around me that I know that they sit down way too much, and it's affecting them. You got to, I actually heard one of the things they tell people now is set your timer. My wife does this. Every 30 minutes, get up. Just walk around. Every 30 minutes, get up and walk around. And because her watch will go off, and I'll go, "What's that?" She goes, I'm just going to walk around. It's like, she's like,
Mine does the same, where it will notify you, hey, you need to get up and walk in.
I think that's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I really do, right?
Yeah.
You were in the fitness industry.
Yes.
And I
yes.
think you were a drill sergeant for the fitness industry.
I was not a drill sergeant.
You were like, get up and move.
I did some boot camps, and my clients and the people that participate in my class may say different, but I was not a drill sergeant. But I love fitness, and it's the same thing. I love encouraging people. So for me, I felt like I fell into what God had already opened up, which was to be an encouragement. So,
boy, that's a gift that the church, the world could use now. I believe more than anything right now.
Yes.
It's a season where we need to be encouragers of one another.
Yes.
I talk about that in a podcast that I did because something has happened. It's a gift. It's something that God gives, and some people are better at it than others. Yeah. But we were talking about how things can be negative, and it's like we need more encouragers than we need people to tell us, you're not doing anything right.
Exactly. So,
everything you do is wrong. And it's like, everything?
Yes.
And those are the ones that we have to show that love to and let them know, like, hey, we have light. You have light too, but, this isn't going to work. And having the collective of people giving positive, it just really changes things.
Yeah. And it depends on how you give it. Because I'm encouraging you to give me more sit-ups, or I'm encouraging you to give me more push-ups. They may not see that as encouragement, but I do, because I know the benefit of that. So the encouragement is always meant to help. Doesn't mean it's always what you think, is encouraging. And it's the same thing with Alzheimer's. We are encouraged by how far we've come. We're excited about where it's going. But some of the news is just what you said that we found out. U.S. pointer system is a prime example. So that came out this past year. We had a study that we did for 2 years, 2 different groups. One group that was had someone leading them and guiding them. So they had, step by step, right? Instruction. They met with somebody. Someone was tracking their progress, all the exercise, eating, encouragement, all of that. They had someone there, right? The other group was self-sustained. Same information, but they had to do it on their own.
They had to decide,
They had to decide on their own when and where, to do it. They didn't have a set time, so to speak, but it was encouraged. Just kind of like with the phone or your watch telling you when, They had those types of tools, but they weren't collectively coming together. They didn't have somebody there for them. Guess which group showed the most progress?
Oh, it had to be the one with the encouragement. There's actually a scripture that says 2 is better than 1, because if one falls down, the other one can help him up. But woe unto the man that doesn't have anybody to help him up. And that was one of the things I did see working at the Veterans Hospital. There were people, nobody ever came and saw them. Nobody, you really, it's kind of a wake-up call to see that. And again, if we're in an aging population, now look, I know not everybody gets Alzheimer's. Not everybody gets dementia. Some people, they live well till the day they go to sleep, right? It doesn't happen. But also they've discovered, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there are people that are getting Alzheimer's at a younger age.
They're getting Alzheimer's at a younger age. And now we're looking at not just Alzheimer's by itself, but like you said, a lot of people until the very end. Very few, honestly, till the very end. Just like you were sharing before about your mother with brain cancer. So towards the end, she probably had some Alzheimer's dementia
within that.
Right? So, we're talking about 1 out of 5 men, 1 out of 3 women over the age of 65 will die with some form of Alzheimer's and or dementia.
I'm 75. Be careful what you say.
I'm just saying that's the
Gotta get up and move.
statistics. Well, he's doing it. So what you're doing now, staying alert, having a schedule, making sure that you are engaged, all those things are working in your benefit, right?
I believe that.
It definitely does. And that's what it proved when you have a regular routine. What happened when we had COVID? The people
that was terrible.
Wasn't it terrible? But the people that kept moving, the people that had progress, that had a set schedule, I even saw that where I was working. So at the time I was at, it's now Marabella, but it was, or Maribel, excuse me, but it was Marbella. Thank you. Marbella. But it was Prestige, and I was the wellness coach. The residents that kept the same schedule, no matter if they came down and ate together or they ate in their room, that they ate the same thing at the same time. They still walked, even if it was in their room, same time. And it wasn't big steps, but they still did their routine.
They continued, yeah.
They continued. They're mentally, they were much happier. This change was not life-altering for them. In fact, they were some of the older residents, but because they felt like, oh, we've been through this before. Just keep to our same schedule. You know, of course, it hurt that they didn't have their family, you know, and friends able to come and visit them, but they called. They kept those appointments. They kept those touch points. They did so much better than the ones that were, wait a second, what do I do now?
I believe that. I was still in the military. I was a chaplain for Yuba City PD. We had Mother Goose Preschool, basing to be on private ed, and I had the radio station. All four were considered essential.
Wow.
So
you kept going.
I went to work every day, right? And I didn't get COVID till we were way down through it.
Yep.
And then when I got it, the first time I got it, it was a little rough. But after that, I got it several other times, and it was just like, and move on.
Yeah.
But I believe what you're saying. I look at the results with our kids from that and how that affected their school, affected their, and so, you know, you can't isolate people. We were not made to be isolated. So I could see how that happens.
Definitely.
And then being active and connecting, I could see how that would keep that from becoming the issue. And
so that's why I'm encouraged by the youth that want to participate, that want to help. That, you know, they're creating groups where they meet together and say, this is what we're going to do. This is what we need to see from the future. At some point, you know, we're going to have to hand this over. Unless God comes sooner, you know, we're going to have to hand this over to them. Whether we hand it over or they just take it, it's going to happen.
There's a statement, our ceiling is their floor. And it's like, at what point do you realize I want to get, like I trained, I don't even know how many, Kurt and I trained to do this for FFA students, 4 schools. And then we have interns that come from Lyndhurst to do it. And it's like, at the same time, it's not just learning this, it's the connection.
Exactly.
And so it really, it's a benefit to have that. There was for a season, and it came out of San Francisco, but it was called intergenerational care. And so they would have preschool and the elderly. And so they would put them together, and the elderly would read books to the preschoolers and that. And they found out it helped both groups tremendously.
It does. Well, before COVID, a lot of the schools around this area were doing that. Kynoch is right behind Marbella. And those two used to always trick or treat. They would bring their Valentine's, their Christmas, you know, they would have that. But when COVID came, it stopped a lot of that. Thankfully, a lot of that is coming back. But I would say that that's essential. That's essential, you know. That connection and having that. And unfortunately, a lot of families don't get to see the generational, you know, a lot of kids don't get to see that with their family, whether it's, you know, distance. My grandparents live further away, what have you. So it's just nice to be able to have that relationship. And so later, after COVID left, we had some volunteers come in, high schoolers from Marysville, Lyndhurst, what's the other one? The continuation, like I was saying, the continuation school, Albert Powell, come in and either share something that they, you know, are working on, whether it was art. One student came in, he just didn't know what he wanted to do. And he says, well, I may want to be a nurse. My mom's a nurse. I may want to be a doctor. Can I come in and I was like, yeah, help us with activities. residents loved him. And then he went away on vacation and came back and showed the videos. He was so excited to show them the video with the pictures and everything. That's what they called it, the video. All he did was plug in his phone.
Yeah.
But for them, it was, and they were excited. They were like, we can't wait to see that. Oh my goodness. I remember when I went there. And he was excited to hear from them their experience.
It's a shared experience.
Yes.
There was a time when in our country, history was shared. It was called oral history. And my brother was an archivist for St. Louis University, and they'd archive testimonies and stuff. And he used to go out with and do oral histories. He said most interesting stuff. These people had lives, and they'd talk about what the difference was. And And when I worked in the at Yountville, I met the guy that was one of the first Caterpillar drivers, and talked about how they developed that.
What's a Caterpillar driver?
It's a
Tractor.
It's like a bulldozer.
Oh, okay.
It's a bulldozer. Cat ended up being the name of it.
Of the cat.
Because they crawl,
okay.
right? So, but he was just a unique man, really gruff, really old man gruff.
Yeah.
And he was just like, you're not going to get me outside, Bob. And I said, oh, Ben, we're going outside. You're going outside.
Yeah.
So finally I got him in a wheelchair, and I took him downstairs, and he started yelling, Bob, stop! Bob, stop! And I was like, I thought maybe he's fallen out of the chair, right? It was a squirrel.
He wanted to see the squirrel.
He wanted to watch the squirrel. He hadn't been outside. And so it's like, we just don't think about it. But Ben and I had a great time. He got to be, he was very demanding, but I understood him.
Yeah.
Gruff old construction worker, right? Just,
Yeah.
Well, we're going now. And I said, we're not going now, Ben. We're going.
Yeah.
But it's that relationship that's built old and young. So now I want to switch to, because you got an Alzheimer, a walk to end Alzheimer that's coming up, and that's in September.
In September,
And
yes.
so it's an awareness. But I want to ask a couple of questions that I think they're probably significant from the standpoint of when we hear about these things. I have heard that Alzheimer's works in such a way that they leave you twice, right? They're leaving you mentally, and then they leave, right? And so that families have to walk through that. And so we're familiar with, like, Alcoholics Anonymous has an organization that helps people who are not alcoholic, but maybe their parents, somebody is in their family.
Yeah.
And so does Alzheimer's have that? Do they have a support network? When we're talking about ending it, we definitely would like to see the disease end.
Yes.
So I would like to know
Yes.
if there's progress on that. But then also, is there help for people who maybe their parent or somebody they know has Alzheimer's?
I'm so glad you asked that question.
You gave me $20. No, I'm just kidding.
I did not, and if I did, I asked him to give it back. You were just supposed to hold it.
Oh, okay.
No, there is, and thank you for that question. So we have care and support. We have research, we have education. So on that specific question of what do we have a 1-800 number.
Oh.
Yes, that's 24/7, 365 days a week. I have to look at it because I know it's 1-800, and then I have to remember the number. But I'll have it. I'm going to look down and get it.
And then Kurt can put it on the video.
Perfect. Yes. So we have that. That number is connected with a clinical advisor to help. They then research your area, call you back and say, okay, this is what da-da-da-da-da. If you're in crisis, meaning you're calling because you're in a situation that you've never been in before, they're, having some issues with, physical altercation or very upset and you don't know what to do. This is not my person anymore. This is not the norm. They can help de-escalate that. They're trained for that, right? But then they'll also give you some areas to go whether it's online, whether it's in person, they'll give you that information. The other nice thing about that is over 60 languages. Wow. Over 60 languages and counting. So if they don't have it for you, they will find someone. You say, I don't understand, I speak, they'll get that person for you, which I love, especially in our community, in California especially, right?
A lot of
There's
languages.
so many different languages. So that's important. We have that. Then we have education, free education online and in person that you can attend. Today, we actually have something at New Wave Hearing, one of our sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
They're actually not only checking out with the hearing, which co-aligns with the Alzheimer's, because if you have a hearing deficiency and you don't take care of it, there's a part of your brain that will just start to shut down because you're no longer using that to translate, to hear the sounds, to differentiate what someone's saying. So it's very important to get your hearing checked. I learned that personally through my mom. Through COVID, my mom was a teacher. She still is a teacher, right? For over 40 years. Oliver's Elementary. Shout out to Oliver's Elementary. But she came straight from Beale Air Force Base where her husband was, and she got a job right away. Like within 3 days, she was telling me the story recently. And she stayed there the whole time. But when COVID happened, you're not going, that wasn't essential, getting her hearing checked. We're just trying to make sure she was protected and not getting COVID. So we went afterwards because I was like, Mom, your TV's at like 56. It's really loud. I can hear it outside. Like it's loud. So she goes and has a hearing checked and they say, you know what, this is perfect timing that hearing aids will work. And I said, I didn't know there was a time that they wouldn't work. And they said, yes, if it goes beyond a certain point, hearing aids aren't going to help. Mm-hmm. And then you also have to use them.
Yeah.
So being in the community that I had worked in, I knew how much of a struggle it was for some people to wear hearing aids. They're uncomfortable. They're having to, and in my mind, I was thinking, if you put them on, it's so much easier for us to talk. Let's just put them on. I didn't realize, and I put my mom's hearing aid on, they hear everything, and the brain has to acclimate to start to differentiate what is important and what is not.
Yeah.
So they're hearing everything,
all the noises,
all the noise, the air conditioning, the hum of the TV, the sound outside, everything's all at the same level. And it takes almost a month for the brain to start to separate those things. If you don't allow that to happen and take breaks in between so your brain can get a break, it's very hard to want to wear your hearing aids because
it can be overwhelming.
It's very overwhelming.
I love mine because they're wireless, they're Bluetooth. Mm-hmm. And so like I can shut my phone off and it'll ring and nobody else will hear it. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go, did you guys just hear my phone ring, right? and what's funny is I'll be talking to somebody on the phone and it looks like I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear the phone, right? But I'm having this conversation.
They've gone so far.
And they've got speech and noise and different things so that
speech
you
with
can
TV.
adjust it.
Yes.
Yep, you can adjust it for that. But
on the phone. So she has that now.
And that helps a
doesn't
lot.
It? So that's one thing. So New Wave today at 1 o'clock, 1 to 2, they're having a joint session it's a free session. We have our educator there, Kendra, and she's going to be talking about the benefits of a healthy life and how the ears play a role, how sight plays a role, all of the things, right? So that's happening. We coordinate and we partner with a lot of our community partners here. Sutter Health in the Sutter Health Education. We have the ADRD, which is the Alzheimer's and dementia-related disease.
Yes. Which
group.
I love an acronym.
Yes.
Yeah, and which we just elected new officials. So, Freedom Home Health is our chair, Comfort Keepers is our co-chair, and then I am the secretary. And it's something that we're really trying to get off the ground and become another resource for people who really need that assistance.
Yeah. So
and that's just also like business to business and, everybody in the community as well.
So people know what is around. So when they call the 1-800 number, we send out all the resources. They can pick and choose. It's not like, oh, these are our sponsors. No. We let them know everything that's in the area, what's available to them.
Oh, okay.
Freed, and everywhere that has a resource that would pertain to Alzheimer's and dementia, we let them know. And then it's from there that they would, seek it out and find help. But those same resources, a lot of them are our sponsors because they understand what we're working for. And they are just as invested as we are. Mm-hmm. This is like an investment for them. The Comfort Keepers, they're a national team. Interim Healthcare, they're a national team. And what that means is
Edward Jones,
largest, yes, largest. And the reason why they started and they're our national presenting sponsor is because most of their clients were dealing with financial issues, trying to meet the needs. Right?
Yeah.
Of this. And it's very hard when you're in the middle of it to know what is what.
Yeah.
How are we going to care
first
for
time.
this? Yes.
We, as a society, my bishop years ago, he made this statement, and I thought, what does he know? He's old. But he said the automobile was one of the first inventions that we didn't realize the degree it was going to change our society. Mm-hmm. And he felt like it probably would have been a better idea if we didn't. And so when I asked him about it, he said it's because families stayed together, right? You died at home, right? The kids everybody knew each other. The invention of the automobile, people would go to get a job somewhere else. They'd go around. And sometimes, you'd be away from your family and they never went back. Uncle so-and-so lived in another state. Yeah. And so he said, we've lost some of the great value of that. And so with talking to you guys, but even other people I've talked to, one of the healthiest things that you can have is family. Mm-hmm. Yes. Although some families might question that. But generally speaking, that's it. I want to, because we're going to run out of time. Okay. So I want to talk about the walk. Mm-hmm. Where it's going to be, when it's going to happen. And we're probably going to we're going to have you guys back on the air before that to invite people to the walk.
Yes.
So just real quick, when is the walk? How do people participate, right? So that, and I love the idea to end Alzheimer's, right?
Yes.
Because there needs to be a hope involved, because we run into these things and say, well, there's no hope. Well, that's not true, because they didn't think there was any hope for bubonic plague or whatever that was. And it's like, yeah, there was.
Yes.
Measles.
Yeah.
So,
yes. So, yes, there's hope. And I think what's great about it, too, is the walk that will be September 5th at the Plumas Fountain at Town Square.
Oh, okay.
In the middle. Yeah. And then that's going to happen at 8:00. We start registration, and then we'll start our program. We have a beautiful program that people can have an opportunity to see solidarity in the cause, and also honor those that they love that are either fighting or have fought the fight. And
we'll have our Promise Garden.
That's part of that. And then we celebrate what we've already accomplished and where we're going. We're like, let's lead this charge. And we get going and we take our walk, which is one of the healthy habits. We used to say 10 healthy habits. There's more, of course.
Yeah, there is.
It's the main core of things that you can do. And these habits aren't things that we created. They're the same things that I was, which is what I love about it, because I'm still teaching, spin classes and different things. Eating healthy, exercise, right? Reading, right? Getting up and out.
Socialization.
Socialization, fresh air, being a part
Sunlight.
Of a community. Mm-hmm. A lot of our things align with Blue Zones as well. So we were so thankful to partner with them. We know that that's that program is sunsetting in July, but we're going to try to keep up as much as we can that they have already started. We want to see that continue to grow. They've done such great work.
And you never know, the program may not be
Exactly.
under that is done,
Exactly.
but somebody else could pick it up. People would still sponsor it.
Oh,
so
yes.
because you guys have weathered the storm,
We've weathered the storm.
you have been in the tank.
We've been in the tank. Yay.
So you get a cup.
Sweet.
You can only get that cup if you've made it
Through the tank.
through the
Yes.
tank, through
Yes.
an interview. And so,
And without being distracted by the fish.
you might have been distracted by this fish. I don't know. But man, I appreciate you guys coming on, and we're
Thank
going to
you.
stay
Thank you.
tracking this. I think it's important. Thank you for being willing to share your past. I want people to know how things come about in our hearts and minds, where we go, why do we do what we do. And I just think it's significant. I have had people come in the tank and they're very narrow. I just want to talk about what I'm involved in right now. Well, you wouldn't be involved in that if there hadn't been some sort of
Exactly.
involvement somewhere before.
Yeah.
And it is about our lives, right? And, my life, it's an extension, right? And so anyway, so thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have to remember, Elicia, what am I supposed to remember to say?
Oh, so we are going to share, like, subscribe, and comment.
Give us
Right
a thumbs
here.
up.
Yes.
Like and subscribe.
Yep. In the tank with fish. I was ready.
Yeah, she needs to do a commercial for me. I'm just telling you. Anyway, listen, we appreciate you guys watching, taking the time to watch these. I like being able to highlight the different people that make our community what it is. This is a great community to live in. I've lived other places. There is something unique about the connection between the city and agriculture, the connection between all the different service groups we got, the kids that end up getting scholarships from many of them, many of the service groups. They particularly do fundraisers to give that money to somebody else. I'm also grateful for our law enforcement community, the fact that we have an air base right here in our community. We have, come on. And we have a regional hospital, plus many other medical facilities, all right here in the Yuba Sutter area. Thanks for watching.